Like you, there are days when I wonder what should they all be doing? These people who still have access to members of the government, what questions should they be asking? How should they be conducting themselves? I don't know if you saw Panorama last night, which inexplicably segued sort of 15 minutes from the end into an attempt to pretend that there was some sort of equivalence or balance between what Boris Johnson has done and what Keir Starmer has been accused of. I've said it to you before and I'll say it again. It's a pathetic attempt to retain access to people who have really squandered any claim to respectability or decency long ago. And yes, I do get cross with some of the journalists involved, but I also recognise that they have to do what they do. Very, very hard to get anywhere in the British media without retaining access to senior politicians. The alternative, of course, is to end up being having them calling for you to be sacked from your job while simultaneously claiming to defend freedom of speech. So when I saw Sam Coates from Sky News outside Downing Street last night, I felt a warm surge of relief.
Did you lie at the dispatch box, Prime Minister? Why did you try and stop Sue Gray publishing her report, Prime Minister? Would you defend anything at all, Grant Shapps? Did Boris Johnson try to squash the Sue Gray report, Anne-Marie Trevelyan? Did you talk about Partygate in Cabinet, or is it easier to hear no evil and see no evil?
Many important matters to discuss.
I bet there are.
Morning, Foreign Secretary.
Is Partygate embarrassing on the world stage, Foreign Secretary? Are you being loyal to save your job? Do you think a future Prime Minister would make you Foreign Secretary? Did Boris Johnson lie at the dispatch box, Nadim Zahawi? Or would you prefer to succeed him as Prime Minister? Does Partygate enhance this government's reputation internationally, Oliver Dowden? Are you proud of this government, Sajid Javid? Are you proud of what's been going on inside the building you've just come out of? Did you discuss Partygate in Cabinet, Deputy Prime Minister?
No, I've played you that, and you won't be surprised to learn there's a strong chance I'll play it to you again, because those are the questions that should be asked in studios. Every single one of those people has been in studios over the last couple of weeks, and those are the questions that people can't ask or won't ask, because either they don't want to embarrass the government that they helped install, in many cases, or indeed expose the Brexit that they helped sell to a population, or they won't ask them because they need for their programmes access to these people next week. Or next month. And that is, I think, why there's so much frustration in Sam Coates' voice. I don't know Sam, I only professionally, I've never met him, but I recognise the frustration in his voice. How can we be doing this? How can we be conducting business as usual when what is unfolding on the field in front of us is absolutely appalling? And it gets worse and worse. These things don't happen overnight. They're a slow turning up of the dial. You put somebody whose relationship with the truth is completely non-existent in charge of everything, and it infects everybody around him. Eventually, everybody is either shouting in the wilderness, like Sam Coates, or defending the lies, like every single politician he just quizzed. And I don't know what to pick first by way of illustration. I think perhaps we'll probably pick this because it left a woman who had done nothing wrong except get a fit of the giggles in a work environment. She hadn't, as far as we know, attended any parties. She hadn't broken any laws, and her career was left in ruins by Boris Johnson.
Mr. Speaker, I think the right honourable gentleman probably missed what I said at the beginning, but I apologise. I apologise for the impression that has been given that staff in Downing Street take this less than seriously. I'm sickened myself and furious about that.
Sickened and furious about the suggestion that there had been any parties. That, of course, was the first story to break, the one that left Allegra Stratton in tears, offering her resignation and watching her carefully cultivated career disappear down the plug hole of Boris Johnson's betrayal. Quite incredible. Play that one again, please.
Mr. Speaker, I think the right honourable gentleman probably missed what I said at the beginning, but I apologise. I apologise for the impression that has been given that staff in Downing Street take this less than seriously. I'm sickened myself and furious about that.
I'm going to do this on the hoof, all right? The phone lines are open. If you want to ring in and join in, persuade the producers you've got something interesting to say, and we'll just slip it into the programme normally. I'm not doing a normal phone-in at first. I'm just doing... I'm inspired by Sam Coates to do a little bit of public service journalism, because you're sort of thinking to yourself, well, how big a lie was that? How big a hypocrisy was that claim in Parliament, in our sovereign Parliament, all the little flag wavers who pretend to care passionately about the sovereignty of Parliament? That's where he told that absolute lie and watched Allegra Stratton's career disappear over the horizon without a single twinge of guilt or regret, because, of course, it's all about Operation Big Dog. So what's the best contrast to that, or the best illumination of just how hypocritical it was? Probably something actually from last night that did emerge on that Panorama programme before it descended into a ludicrous exercise in self-serving false equivalence. Have a little listen to this, which is a Downing Street worker describing not just the culture of corruption in Downing Street, but also the architect of that corruption.
Lee Kane's leaving do. Can you just tell us what happened at that event?
There was about 30 people, if not more, in a room. Everyone was stood shoulder to shoulder, some people on each other's laps.
People were sitting on each other's laps?
Yes, 1 or 2 people. They were every week. The event invites for Friday press office drinks were just nailed into the diary.
There were actually invites. There was a weekly regular invite to press office drinks on Friday nights.
Yes, Wine Time Fridays. Invites that were in everyone's calendar for every Friday at 4 p.m.
At 4 o'clock in the afternoon was wine time.
Yes.
So to be really clear about this, you and your colleagues felt that you had essentially permission from Boris Johnson to have these events. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because
he was there. He may have just been popping through on the way to his flat, because that's what would happen. You know, he wasn't there saying this shouldn't be happening. He wasn't saying, can everyone break up and go home? Can everyone socially distance? Can everyone put masks on? No, he wasn't telling anybody that. He was grabbing a glass for himself. His principal private secretary himself was organising. His staff were organising parties.
They were sitting on each other's knees while we had to attend funerals over Zoom. And they thought it was all okay because the man in charge, ultimately Boris Johnson, and his closest confidants, his key allies and advisors, were the party starters. Little nod there to Prodigy fans. They were the Twisted Fire starters. And then, of course, another example, if you still need another one, which is the one which really is poised to bite him hardest on the backside, because this involves a blatant breach of the ministerial code.
Will the Prime Minister tell the House whether there was a party in Downing Street on the 13th of November?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no, but I'm sure that whatever happened, the guidance was followed and the rules were followed at all times.
And we now know that that was indeed the party that you just heard one of the attendees referring to, Lee Kane's so-called leaving do. Where do you go from there? How much more evidence do you need? How does this pile on? I'll say it again. They were sitting on each other's knees and guffawing at Boris Johnson's party pieces, while the rest of us had to attend funerals over Zoom or couldn't even visit newborn members of our families. But hey, send me more texts about how it's only cake or cheese and doesn't really matter, because I need it. I need the evidence of just how hard you will work to lie to yourself on behalf of a man who would not urinate on you if you were on fire. It's coming up to 10:30. You're listening to James O'Brien on LBC. How do you process the knowledge that then when we were attending funerals over Zoom, when we were denied the barest physical contact with our elderly parents, whether they were in care homes or not, how do you process that knowledge? That they were partying like it was 1999. Another nod there to fans of rather out of date. Although that one will never be out of date, will it? They were partying like it was 1999, and you had to attend funerals of loved ones over Zoom.